as Leonardo, but I think you already knew that.
Ham's here for the cornhole competition. Don't even get me started.
Don't even get him started. Don't stop me. Stop me now.
Probably. How much time do we have? Don't say that.
Uh-oh.
Don't say that to a bunch of boys around here. Obviously, this is your time, and we're beyond grateful. All of us this weekend have been hearing from all of you sweet folks things like, thank you for coming, thank you for being here, thank you for what you've done for my children, for me, my grandchildren. With all due respect, BS. It is we who thank you. And that's the, hang on. And that's the God's honest truth. We don't draw them, and we don't write them. We are profoundly lucky that we are the folks who get the hugs and kisses and the props. But any of us who are lucky enough to make a living doing essentially what got us in trouble in high school have nothing. And I am dead serious. We have nothing without you guys.
You know, at breakfast,
So thank you.
Renee and I had breakfast this morning, and we were talking about you guys and what the convention circuit has afforded us. But we also said one thing that keeps you in gratitude. All of us as actors know there are tons of talented people who don't catch a break. And we are talented, but there's so many people that could do this. And I'm just so grateful that we happen to be the ones this time, because lots of folks are crazy talented.
And this franchise is you guys. I mean, several of us had the pleasure of knowing each other before we all got together on this. But as a result of your largesse and your kindness and your willingness to share this with your babies, look at that. Shut eye, it's the coolest thing. We have lifelong friendships.
Is that your son?
Oh my God. You're Peter Venkman.
Oh, wow.
Nice to see
And
you.
who's his favorite turtle?
Who's your favorite turtle? Michael.
All right, dude. Good answer, micro dude.
He's smiling. Anyway, the fact is that we're really grateful, and we cannot say it enough. But this is your time. So if you want to give a little bit of information, or you want to just ask questions?
You guys want to ask us questions?
We can do that,
Why don't we
sure.
do that?
Hey, look, I'm lucky enough to be wearing a pillowcase today, so
How about that? My son still has that sheet.
I do too.
And this shirt was actually made by a fan.
Isn't that something?
Isn't that cool? And proud.
Yeah. That's the other thing is that how many of you are creators, are artists, or okay? How unbelievable is it that a franchise that is damn near 40 years old has inspired you guys to the extent that you're able to make a living doing this?
That's right.
I don't even know how much stuff
I got
all worked out
sent,
collectively.
somebody sent me a Instagram thing that I guess SNL, I don't know when it was, but someone sent it to me, where it was middle-aged Ninja Turtles
Yeah,
to the theme
middle-aged
song,
Ninja, yeah.
and it shows them with big fat guts, and it shows them with kids in the back seat and taking the trash out. And I mean, that's very funny, but we need the senior citizen Ninja Turtles.
And what's kind of cool is that, you might have heard that Nickelodeon has just acquired all of our episodes, all
The original ones.
193 episodes.
Yeah, all the turtle episodes.
And they're going to be streaming them in different places, and that's going to allow a generation that hasn't seen the original shows to get to see those, and and hopefully love them.
I gotta say, you parents out there kind of remind me of parents that would force their kids to go to Sunday school. Like, you're going to church, and I get these parents come up and they go, no, they have to watch the original. They're not allowed to move on until they listen.
Don't you pick up that dog poop when you're done, until you're done watching Ninja Turtles.
Right. So a lot of the dads have been telling me they do something called Turtle Tuesday. And yeah, Turtle Tuesday, every Tuesday, they watch an episode or two and order pizza. And their son or daughter get to order what kind of pizza they want.
And
so
what's
we
it
have
say?
to start a
Anchovy and
national,
hot fudge.
National Turtle Tuesday.
And I don't know about you kids growing up,
Avocado
but
and peanut butter.
my parents' cartoons was not a family activity. You know, Saturday morning, you get up before your parents and make yourself a bowl of Lucky Charms with ice cream. And we hear from so many of you guys that it's like a family affair. And that's so amazing.
Impossible to quantify, but
So actually, why don't you guys sit up?
yeah, you guys are way better than me. But if you guys have questions for any of us, all of us, please come up.
we're ready to
You
go.
like that? You got a question? Come on, stand up.
You have to tell us
Don't be
your
embarrassed.
name.
Stand up. Come on up.
Look at
here.
that proud turtle hat you have on.
What's your name? Johnny. All right, Johnny. What's your question for the Ninja Turtles
John,
on
tell
stage?
First of all, thank you guys for coming.
See? You're welcome.
What are your guys' experience with James Avery? And how was it like recording or anything with him? Or how was he like in person?
We called him the Gentle Giant.
James Avery.
And he never wore shoes when he recorded.
He wore sandals, but he would take them off.
I think they were like Earth shoes.
Right.
And he would
Birkenstock.
Birkenstocks. And with me, I was always at the recording studio early, and he was always early too. So I'd walk in, and this giant man would just start laughing, this huge, beautiful laugh, and he'd pick me up, and like my little feet would go, "Ah!" And he was just this wonderful, kind man, and
Like he was holding an Oscar.
he was holding an Oscar.
No, he was, and classically trained Shakespearean actor, which is utterly unsurprising when you had the pleasure of meeting him. But like these guys said, he'd come with his sandals on and take them off, and he had like Nimitz class feet. I mean, he could land an F-16 on his foot. But he was not only delightful, utterly devoid of pretense.
Right.
And when he booked Fresh Prince, he had a real difficult time leaving. I totally get why he did. But you know, we had the pleasure of seeing him a few years before he passed away. We were over at Kevin Eastman's house in LA for a little event. And he said to me that every single episode of Fresh Prince, when there was a new guest star or a couple of actors who might be extras or whatever, they all flipped out. Not because of Uncle Phil, because he was the shredder. And so, yeah, he was a wonderful fellow, and you guys had excellent taste in bad guys.
And that was when we were doing the interviews for the documentary.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
it's great.
You know, it's funny. You bring up Shredder, right? One of his henchmen are here, and I think he wanted to ask a question. Is that right? We got a foot soldier in the building, guys. What's your name, bud?
Jeff,
Jeff, yeah, hi
are the
Jeff.
Ninja
Hi,
Turtles,
Jeff.
would the Ninja Turtles be considered an invasive species?
Would the Ninja Turtles be considered an invasive species in the best of
Only
ways?
to
Was it endangered or invasive?
invasive.
Invasive.
You would need it only if you're a Power Ranger. Then, yeah, because you know, with all due respect, they're lovely guys, but Ninja freaking Turtles.
I mean, you guys did become Star Trek at one point,
Yeah,
right? So you did. So I mean,
it's really remarkable. We've all had the great privilege of knowing Kevin Eastman for a long time. It's fantastic seeing so many pieces that you bring up to us that have already been signed by Kevin. And every time that any of us have the pleasure of being with he and his wife Courtney, the conversation inevitably gets to, did you have any blanking idea? It never stops. The new movie is a hit. My son is 38. He called me yesterday and said, oh my God, this is fantastic. It really is fairly unprecedented. with all respect to SpongeBob and The Simpsons, they certainly The Simpsons you can't argue with at all. But my goodness, how many versions of this show have there been, all of which have been successful?
And they're going to keep on trying that till they get it right.
Yeah, correct. So who's next?
All right, so who out here wants to ask a question? Raise your hand. Stand up. Come on up here. Come see me. He just got his Leo shirt on.
He has good taste in t-shirts.
What's your name, bud? Ahmed. All right, welcome in.
Well, I've got like a twofer, one for Cam and one for Rob. I heard once that Cam almost was Michelangelo and Townsend would have been Leo. So I just gotta ask Cam, can we hear your Cowabunga?
I shall avert my
Cowabunga, dude.
Right?
And my other question for Rob is, you were Raphael in the '87 show, and then you were Donatello in the 2012 show.
I live to be 100, I can knock them all out.
Hopefully.
Close.
Close. But I gotta ask, like, how was it approaching Donatello versus Raphael, even though we can still tell it's you doing both voices?
Well, it's not near. Thank you for suggesting that there was some difficulty because it's really hard. This is the best job in the world, and I'm really good at my job, just like my friends. But we ought to be. We've been possibly fortunate to do this for a really long time on a lot of really good stuff. But to get another crack at it is impossible to quantify. The first thing I tell people is that my respect and admiration and love for these people is way bigger than my desire to make a living. And I mean, what I'm saying is that Barry's Donatello, period, end of story. And it was very clear, or rather, I had to make sure that it was very clear that none of these other folks were being considered for this, for whatever reason. And it worked out well.
They did call me to see if I would play Donatello, but I told them no. The opportunity to do it again was wonderful. And the fact, did you enjoy that version of it?
I pretty much like every girl except for the two things.
Great, I totally get it, and that's the point about this franchise is bulletproof. But the greatest compliment you could give me is that, wow, I knew it was the same guy, but I totally bought Donatello, and I totally bought Raphael.
And I did.
Right, and thank you. And you, if I'm doing my job right, you should. It's not like, it is like, not comparatively, but it is like we love Jack Nicholson and we love Meryl Streep. We know it's them in everything they do. But they inhabit the character, which is their job, to make you buy it. And you have your willing suspension of disbelief, even though you hear the guy that says, here's Johnny, doing like something else, and you love it. So thank you, because that's what we do, and I appreciate it.
And I have to add to your first question, being so upset and having to take to my bed and turn all the lights off when I didn't get Michelangelo. But I'll be damned if I didn't use that voice in other shows. I used my Michelangelo voice in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. And in Denver, the Last Dinosaur. So take that!
Yeah.
Take that, Townsend Coleman.
Okay, I have to ask something, because everyone always says to me, do your Donatello voice. Right? Which I'm doing right now. Because it's just my voice. I'm pitched a little higher, but that's about it. But do they ask you to do your Donatello voice?
They do, but I luckily have wonderful catchphrases like butt cannons. It has butt cannons. And people love that kind of stuff. But no, it's
Let me hear you say butt cannons.
Butt cannons?
Yeah, but see, Barry says that in real life anyway.
Butt cannons? What the heck are butt cannons?
I see what you're talking
Hey,
about.
honey,
Butt cannons.
look, I have a butt cannon.
Yeah, boy, tell me, at my age, yeah. Sorry. Anybody else have a question?
Well, first off, so Renee, I know you being the woman of the cast
The
that
chick.
had to wrangle all of these guys together. And it's funny because your character did the same thing with the characters. Did you have to do that with the guys too? Were you having to like wrangle them and keep them on?
She's like our den mother. Renee Jacobs After Dark.
Woo.
More like our little sister, though.
She's like
Yeah.
our Jewish mother. Yeah.
She's younger than we, so yeah. Little
Very, very much younger than all of you. No, I didn't have to wrangle them in. I had to stop myself from laughing so hard my face hurt every time we recorded. We had Sue Blue to wrangle them in. It wasn't my job to wrangle anybody in. I had to just watch my back. So that was enough. But these guys are so funny and so clever and so creative. A lot of the lines weren't necessarily written by the writers. These guys improvised all the time. They used to, every time we would start a new season, they would give us the lecture. It has to be darker this time. Stop throwing the sand around. You guys, this is, evil, bad. Ugh. And so the powers that be would be in the booth. And for the first few episodes of every season, it would be darker. But if you really pay attention, they finally left. Like, okay, they get it. And then, as soon as they were gone, these guys would start goofing around again. Because, life,
You were home alone.
life is difficult. We hear from our fans all the time how, if not for Ninja Turtles, I don't know if I'd be alive. Or, you were my family.
Unbelievable.
And so it's these guys that created that safety net for you and created that fun. The evil stuff, that could be Batman, that could be anything. But we had such a secret sauce with these guys. So you really should be thanking them for what they did.
You should be thanking me.
Come get their autographs.
That's typical of this lovely woman's ethos. That's how she rolls. And I have to tell you probably experienced this too. When we get a chance to go to these lovely events all over the place, and often we are asked, "Hey, would you guys? You're in town. Would you come into Good Morning Chicago or Good Morning Cleveland and let people know where?" The number of young weather girls or news women I've met who have said, "I have to tell you, if it weren't for April O'Neil, I don't think I used to have my little fake microphone." It's amazing. I've seen half a dozen April O'Neil cosplayers here this week.
We need our April O'Neil.
It's
We
just
need a news broadcast. We need
I,
the credits.
and also Pat Fraley, who plays Krang, and Peter Renaday, who is Splinter. Both obviously are not here, but here was Mickey Mouse as well, and Splinter, and Pat Fraley was Krang, and Vern Thompson, and Baxter Stockman, and that guy is from another friggin' planet. He used to hand all of us little pieces of paper. Say this when you. And he was right. Whether it ended up in the show or not was not the issue. It gave this sense of energy to the production, and it made a difference.
I do think that for better or worse, but I do think that when I see the show now, and I have tried to watch a few episodes because I haven't seen it in years.
Plus, they have edibles now.
But now
It changes everything.
totally.
Shaped like Ninja Turtles.
Gummy turtles. But no, but but I think that there is that mix of humor and superhero seriousness
Totally.
in our show that is a little different, and I think it's stronger and I think that worked.
One thing that doesn't happen very often anymore is that we recorded together.
Right.
And we rehearsed it, took a break, and then we did it. So these relationships were able to be developed over time. Now, most of the time you're recording in your closet, and
So to speak.
yeah, or you're out of the closet, and you don't get that same spark, you know.
When we're all in the studio together and ensemble working, and we bounce off of each other, and there's so much more. The energy is so different, and so much more alive when we're all together.
And I gotta add that at the end of the year, and this isn't just on our show, a lot of shows would do what they call the Christmas reel. And they would produce all of our outtakes, on a thing. And we had been together so long, like brothers and sisters. These were the nastiest, angriest. Just anytime, like I was always falling asleep. And it's like, that's your line, darling. And just the funniest stuff. So fun, the way we just
Where
play
are
with each
those?
other.
Where are those reels?
I have one.
You have one?
Yeah.
Can you send it to us? Put it on
On
YouTube.
YouTube.
Listen to these guys.
Great. When the last one of us is fixing to punch out, then you put it up. Anyway, who else has a question?
And
Right there? Come on up.
one thing as he's coming up is that Cam said, brothers and sisters. And another thing that we have to thank you for is that, 25 years ago, 25 years after Turtles, we had a lot of us had lost touch with each other. Not all of us, but a lot of us had lost touch with each other. You brought us back together. By doing these, now I've got a family again. And because I'm an only child, so I got these guys and that lady. And that's because of this. That's because of you guys. So when we get a chance to all be together, it is heaven. Because oddly enough, we really like each other.
Yeah.
And
Day's not over yet.
usually.
Nice to see you. What is your name?
This is Ash.
Ash. That's my
Hi,
son's
Ash.
name.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Hi, first I just want to say I'm a huge fan.
We look pretty normal size, but that's very
Thank you. I try my hardest, but no, I like your guys' show was something me and my older sister watched when I was growing up, and it was something that we really bonded over. And like even today, like when I'm like late night snacking at 2 a.m., she says I'm Ninja Turtling.
great.
And yeah, like you guys also like inspired me to want to become a voiceover actor too. And,
Excellent.
yeah, I just really like I love your work. And so for you, Rob, I actually have one very specific question.
Sure.
So on TikTok, I don't know if you know, but there's a specific audio that's been running around from one of your lines from the 2012 Turtles.
And 2012 Turtles?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about, are you going to finish that fiasco?
So specifically, the line was you as Donatello saying, obviously I didn't know. You were screaming it at Leonardo.
Obviously, I didn't know.
I was going to ask if you could do it.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
got
so
to yell
much.
a lot. I had a very short temper. And they
You
would
really did. Wow.
always be, are you trying to freak me out? My wife says that virtually every day. But thank you. I did not know that. I did know years ago, my wife said, are you on TikTok? And I said, no. And she said, dude, check this out. And she showed me there were like 400 million Clara impressions. If I could just squeeze a buck out of each one of those knuckleheads. But thank you very much. I'll check that out. Pleasure. Good luck to you.
Who else has a question? Hold on, let's get this gentleman there. We'll get you next. Okay, I got you. He's been like this.
You got it,
Okay.
man.
Come on up.
Look at you.
What's your name, sir? Jason. All right. Jason,
I
what's your
remember
question?
Jason.
Yeah, hi guys. Huge fan. Been watching the show my whole life. Always recognize you guys' voices in other shows and cartoons. So I'll kind of have a question for each of you. What would be your favorite character that you voiced other than the Turtles cartoon?
Well, that's easy for me. I am the Tick. Evildoer, beware.
What a show.
Spoon. For those of you who know the show and
That show is
aware of it.
way ahead of its time. But still in all, even after 2 live action iterations, both of which I really enjoyed, that cartoon is freaking amazing. And Ben Edlund at the time was what, 23? It should go like this. The guy who created it, amazing. How about you, darling?
So obviously April is my favorite character because she's the one you all know. But hold that. But I don't know if you know that I did the voice of baby Glenn at the end of Bride of Chucky. And so I get a lot of that. So what they did was I did my voice and then they mixed it with a pig squeal, and that's how it is. So it's kind of like
And that's why David fell in love with her. I mean, she's beautiful and she can do that. I have had an embarrassment of riches. I am beyond blessed to have these people in my life. Um, Anytime you can get a chance to work on anything that becomes this, and you're the original thing, person, critter, it's you won the lottery. As Tammy was saying, Barry was the president of the Screen Actors Guild for 7 years. There are what, a couple 100,000 members of the Screen Actors Guild, $180, something like that. This many of them make a living, and the people who make any money average about 25 grand a year. We have utterly won the lottery. Other than Turtles, it'd be pretty hard not to go with Yakko, because I was a singer before anything, and that show really allowed me to sing music that has ended up being pretty remarkable. And anytime you get to work with Mr. Spielberg on any, you get the best musicians, you get full orchestra, you get, and it lasts. Not like Turtles. That's in a different category, but that was one that really helped me out because I got to sing them. How about you?
My favorite, before I tell you who that is, often because we have been together outside of Turtles for a million years, you know how to work off each other because you've been together so long. My favorite character is
Freddy the Ferret from Barnyard.
and I was paired with the darling Rob Paulson, which did his character Pat.
I was Pat the Rooster, and Eddie and Freddie, as much as I loved him, wanted to eat me.
Yeah, so I was constantly wanting, I don't want to eat my best friend, but the thought of it.
And because we, like an old
great.
vaudevillian act, had already been together for
We had
1,000
so
years. There's
much fun.
shorthand that just comes with it.
Yeah.
And to get to be with you on my favorite ferret.
Yeah.
Say that 3 times fast. Added to the fun of it,
That was
because
so-
I knew
Chris
what you were going to
Hardwick-
say before it came out of your head.
Totally. Same thing. When we all get to work together, and you, as Renee was saying, you're surrounded by world-class talent who all came out. Hope I've done that twice. Jesus Christ. All right. You know,
I'll get them,
just leave it
precious.
there. But the high tide raises all boats. We're all better together. And with that show is no different. Tino and Sana, Jeff Garcia used to be a quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Not that Jeff Garcia. And Chris Hardwick, I mean, stupidly gifted people. So that was, check out Back at the Barnyard. We did the 3 seasons, and we did a movie.
And the feature that came first.
What about you, Mr.? Well, Barry started working in this business when he was 5.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that my mind would go to more of my on-camera work, but the question was about cartoons, and I have not done the level that you guys have done. I've been lucky to do some, but not anywhere near what those guys have done.
Look up his IMDb. It'll blow your
as
mind.
far as cartoons concerned. But I guess my favorite, because I'm always hired for my own voice, so it's not like I can say, oh, there's a voice that I did that was so great. But, well, yeah, I
So
know
was
Bebop
Lorenzo
is
Music.
But, yeah, Bebop is a whole joke. We'll
Okay,
talk
great.
about that another time. But I would say there are two things that come to mind. One, is I really enjoyed it. Didn't last overly long, but I really enjoyed playing Razor in SWAT Cats because I got to be as close to Clint Eastwood as I could go, right? So when I listen to it now, it's really Donatello trying to be Clint Eastwood.
Fantastic.
But so he's there. But but it's that.
Yeah.
He has that.
Charlie was on that show too, right?
And Charlie was T-Bone. Yeah, he was the other pilot.
Yeah.
So I would say that one. But there was a show that I did that lasted for 5 minutes called Gravedale High.
Oh, I remember that.
Which had one of the most unbelievable casts that I ever, starting with Rick Moranis. Sure. And I got to work with just amazing people, almost as amazing as you guys. And that was incredible. But I would say for voice, I'd say Razor.
You know, at least this time Townsend didn't throw his mic down when you said that and walk off the stage. Who's got a question? I know you do. I just wanted to see if you're paying attention. Come on up here. What is your name? Sandra? What's your question?
Well, it's more of a comment because you guys talk about how your family and stuff made me remember you guys were the first superheroes I ever watched as a little kid. You guys were like it for me. And I wanted to learn karate and be a Ninja Turtle. And since I didn't have, my stepbrothers were babies and my other sister's really older than me, I was alone a lot. So April O'Neil was my imaginary friend when I was little, and I'd go play with her with my Barbies as a little kid. I just wanted to share that with you guys because you guys were being nostalgic, then it got me being nostalgic. So I'm like, yeah, I want to share.
Thank you
so
much, Sandra.
You know, I gotta say, one of the things that impresses me about this show now, because I get to meet you guys, is the number of women who were Ninja Turtle fans when they were little girls, not necessarily because of April, but perhaps they had older brothers and such who were watching the show, but they totally got into it themselves and wanted to be Raphael or Leonardo and loved it as much as their brothers did. And it's a crazy franchise like that. I love it.
We cannot say, well, Barry made a great point. You worked on a cast with remarkably famous, gifted, outstanding actors. Buckus.
13 episodes.
Went away. Bye-bye. No one ever knows when they're spending a shitload of someone else's money. Never knows what's going to happen. You just don't know. So to be here with you people,
all these years later.
Minor miracle. It really is. Anybody else have a question? Yeah, Rob, shut up.
Right down here. Come on up. I'll get you next, all right, bud? What's your name, sir? Ricky. What is your question, Ricky?
So first off, thank you very much. This is an unexpected blessing to see you guys all together. When I saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reunion, I was like kind of shocked to see everyone, including April,
still alive.
That too. Well, I figured that out when I bought the game. I was like, thank God, the first off. But my question is, for every one of you, there are an infinite number of Ninja Turtle merchandise. Out of everything that you guys can think of, foods, products, whatever, what are your favorites?
That's a great question.
I can't think of a specific thing because there's so much of it. I'll tell you this much: when we first started doing the show and Playmates first started coming out with the toys, I thought, you know what? I think maybe this thing has legs. I'm going to start collecting one of everything and just keep it away, not ever open any of it. And that lasted maybe a year. I was going into Toys R Us all the time, and they kept coming out with so many iterations of all our characters. I thought, I can't keep up with this stuff. And of course now, I mean, good heavens, the stuff that comes out is just crazy.
I heard some figure several times, so apparently it's relatively true, that to date, Ninja Turtles has created about $6 billion in merchandise.
Yeah,
it takes Townsend 2 years to make that much money.
Well, and it's funny. I want to point something out. So, Toy Expert, and you bring that up, I think it's very important for you guys to know this. I don't know if you do. So, your line actually kind of paved the way for how Playmates did any of their releases moving forward. So, you guys actually introduced how they marketed The Simpsons, right? And then what most people don't know is that over time, as they've developed this license and understood how retail works, they're now making the figures, something they wanted to do back then. They're putting them on the market as the episodes are releasing. So that way, when you're a kid and they would see it, because I know me as a kid, man, I couldn't wait until whatever character, side character it was going to be available for me to buy it as a toy.
You couldn't wait for Bugman to come out.
Exactly. But it's funny because your guys' characters are ultimately what paved that path to change the kids' retail in the action figure world. And I don't think you realize how impactful that is. How many action figure collectors are here? There you go.
Those first 5 episodes were absolutely to sell the toys. That's it. We had no clue we'd get picked up. It was like all of our surprise. So it's because your parents bought you all those toys for Christmas that we continued.
And please thank your parents, because as a result of their largesse, my kids' teeth are straight today. No, in fact, Ryan Reynolds just is going to produce a reboot of Biker Mice from Mars, which was clearly, and even I know those guys, they were like, look, we love Ninja Turtles. And the quote was, if we're this much successful as Turtles, okay, so Turtles generated several billion, Biker Mice generated $250 million, which is still not a bad paycheck. But so even that now, Ryan Reynolds is going to have a reboot, and they've already released some of the Biker Mice from Mars dated toys.
That's the Nacelle Group.
Yeah.
So Brian Volkweiss, the creator of the toys that made us and all of that, went and rebirthed the Biker Mice line. I'm glad you brought that up because I get to mention my friend. That's great.
Yeah. In terms of I like Tandy, I can't pinpoint one specific piece of merchandise. However, what happens a lot, which is remarkably, incredibly gratifying, is seeing the number of tattoos. Oh yeah. I mean, serious art.
Yeah, the ink that some of you guys wear.
So you gotta say, dude, check this out. He lifts up his pants, his whole calf is Leonardo, and his left one is Krang. I mean,
We had a guy come to one of our shows and had each one of us autograph his skin somewhere, and he came back the next day having us permanently on
That's
him.
not the first. I've gotten that a number of times. I don't know.
I know. I
I don't
dude,
know
are
how
you
I
sure?
feel about that.
There has to be a time at which you're gonna go, what the hell was I thinking?
I gotta say, my favorite Leonardo toy is the life-size blow-up Leonardo.
About this big, right?
Oh yeah.
You got one, right?
I do at the adult store down
Yeah.
the.
Going
It's
down
that's the
down
one that's
Swords.
anatomically correct, I think, isn't it?
There's a
I-
fine
Look
line.
at you digging in the resources going back in the day. What show's that from?
What's that?
The Archie Bunker show.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. His grandson was anatomically correct.
Correct. Oh my God. It turns out there's a fine
See how
line
that
between
stick?
funny and
Look,
intelligent.
see how that stays in the back of your mind when things influence you when you're younger.
There was it called Archie's grandson?
It was
You could
his-
buy him in the store.
There was a toy that actually
Boy
was removed
baby
from the
doll.
market that was his grandson that was anatomically
my dear.
correct.
So you notice no one has given an answer to that question. You do realize that, right, folks? And the skateboard.
Hey, I gotta say though, one of the things that really impresses me now is the whole Funko craze. These pops and the number of versions that they keep coming out with of our characters is insane.
We were in Seattle a few weeks ago, and they made us our own Funkos. So
They
we
gave us
each
each
had.
a Cam Clark Funko,
Yeah.
a Rob Paulson Funko.
A lot of gray hair. It was very interesting.
How you doing, sir? Nice to see you again.
What's your name? Leonardo. Leo's got a question.
So I have maybe a two-part question if possible, and the first question is probably to the grateful Rob Paulson. Good sir, you did have a show back in the day where you had a lot of guests because you do have a lot of voices and a lot of friends. It was Talking Tunes.
That was my podcast.
Yes, exactly.
All of these folks have been on it.
That's what got us together the first time.
Maybe a revival with the brand new TMNT of all you guys all together for one more show.
Boy, that's very kind of you. Like most things, that are done as a labor of love, they became really successful, irrespective of whether you make a dime or you become big. That's not the point. The unbelievable gratitude I had that I could pick up my phone and call world famous actors and say, check this out, you guys. Just come on over. We're going to do this wherever. We're going to do it live at Improv or the Comedy Club. A couple hundred people. And when these folks walked out because they said, it's Rob, sure, I'll do it. Boom! Everybody flipped out. People were dying. It was unbelievable. And nobody made a nickel. Every time I get paid for doing one of those, I just give the money to the wait staff. But never, ever, ever did they say, geez, Rob, I'm not available. That's why that's such a cool thing. So thank you for watching and listening.
And what was your second question?
Could I get your guys' favorite pizza topping in your guys' voices?
Pizza.
Yeah, anchovy and hot fudge, dude. The only way to eat pizza.
Oh, that's right. You have a favorite pizza? Take a little piece of my heart?
Do you guys think of anything other than pizza?
Oh, honey, don't get us started. Yeah, my favorite pizza, Raphael, his favorite pizza is hot fudge, marshmallow, tuna fish, and Doritos with ranch dressing on the side. And Tums.
Well, as the leader, I have to watch out for my figure. So, no cheese, no tomato sauce, just some nice homemade bread.
And tofu.
Tofu
pizza.
and what's that stuff that thinks it's lettuce that isn't?
Kale.
And kale.
What? No pineapple?
Like when you go to a restaurant and it says kale Caesar.
Nice.
Kale's
All kale Caesar.
No, but it's like, then it's not a Caesar.
Not a Caesar. Not
But I
romaine.
digress.
And I didn't remember which one Donatello had, and then at one of the cons, I think it was earlier this year, someone came up with an empty pizza box that had a label on it for each of us
Great.
that she had taken from the show. So she knew which ones we liked. And what I apparently like is avocado and peanut butter. That was
right.
mine.
Yeah.
I would add some jalapenos, but basically that's
Is
it.
that breakfast pizza? Is that what this is? Protein shake in the morning, a little avocado.
Avocado toast pizza. Yeah.
All right, I got time for one more question, my guy right here. Come on up.
Hey, buddy.
What's your name, sir? James. James, what is your question?
First of all, like everybody, it was a blessing watching you guys on TV, just growing up. I loved every minute of it, and I still watch it today.
So much.
Question for Rob: if Carl and Yako were to team up and save the universe, how would you think that would turn out?
It's very disturbing.
Yeah.
Carl and Yako were going to save the universe?
Stop the world, I want to get off.
You might have a podcast coming up now.
Yeah, hi Yako. I've got nothing else to do because Mrs. Neutron is out of town. And I'm going to take over the world. Yeah, Carl, do me a favor. I want you to do 3 things for me. Smack yourself, jump out of a plane, and never ever call me again. Good night, everybody. That's probably what would happen. But thank you for asking, James. That's very kind of you.
Absolutely. I think that's
All right,
absolutely
April's got a
correct.
great idea for you.
She does. Tell the crowd what you'd like to do.
Okay, everybody. We know you love turtles. And what do turtles do? They yell turtle power. So on 3. You ready? Everybody got their
Hang on a second.
cameras?
Is everybody
Get your
here?
cameras on.
Get your cameras on.
Hang on, we good?
You ready? On 3, we're going to scream turtle power. Ready?
Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Turtle power!
We love you, San Jose. Thank you.
Give it up for Barry, Cam, Rob, of course, Renee and Townsend, everybody. Guys, they will be signing over in their area just here in a few minutes. If you'd like to join them, otherwise stick around. We have the